This 2D music franchise is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. We start off with my all-time favorite 2D music franchise, which is Dear Vocalist. So let's kick off this episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Welcome to SEIYUU Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today we are going to talk about the Dear Vocalist franchise as a whole. So, the franchise is celebrating its 10th anniversary, as you may already know, and this is a massive milestone. For me, and I said in the previous episode that I didn't feel that this franchise would last this long, I'm quite happy to see them last. Thankfully, because last year it was so crazy that I thought that maybe the franchise is going to disappear for good, and I don't like that idea at all. I love this franchise. I've said it countless times before that I love the storytelling that this franchise accomplished, and I love the drama CDs and the music, how they tie up so perfectly. So I feel that when I look at the other franchises, and especially because I cater, or at least I favor more rock music, I feel that when it comes to the rock music itself, this is the franchise that best captures not only the cool vibe about rock, but also approaches the behind the scenes of the rock scene fairly well, I should say. This franchise is actually celebrating its 10th anniversary, and I'm going to give you a quick overview. I'm not going to be overly technical in these episodes. This is more of a conversation about what I love about the franchise and the things that I really love about it that may make you, in case you are not a fan yet, make you want to actually check the franchise and give them a chance and find new music to enjoy. Find SEIYUU that maybe you are not fond of in other projects that are actually being fairly amazing in this franchise. I want you to think of this as a conversation with yourself, as if we were hanging out together and talking about our favorite 2D music projects. In this case, this is my all-time favorite one. If you had to make me pick one that I would keep forever, this would be the one that I would make it run forever. Basically, it is Dear Vocalist. This franchise started in 2015. It is created by Rejet. Most of you will think, oh, but Rejet is well known for the Diabolic Lovers franchise, and that's not necessarily something common in terms of the approach that they have, the risque themes that they approach, and even the weird relationships that are there. And most people, I find, they have a sort of problem with Rejet because they have touched upon taboo themes in some capacity, and they usually have really weird ideas. I'm going to admit this. I love most of the projects that Rejet comes up with, but they are fairly weird at times. But at the same time, they are really a lot of fun because no other creator is actually putting themselves out there to bring weird as heck projects or create things that usually you won't see anywhere else, even if it's not necessarily weird in a Diabolic Lovers sort of way. I will say this is a franchise that you can easily look at it and think, yeah, this is rock music. It is unmistakable when you look at the designs, when you see the bands themselves, because now we have the designs for all the bands. Up until the 7th season, we only had the designs for the vocalists. So right now you look and you instantly say this is a rock project. But when the project kicked off, it was already fairly easy to understand that the project was all about rock music. And this was a massive thing for me because up until then, rock music was not that massive of a focus for the 2D music industry. And I feel that it still isn't. If you see the ratio of idol projects versus rock music projects, you won't see many rock music projects. Right now we maybe have 2 or 3. One of them will go on a hiatus by the end of this year from Argonavis. Dig Rock is on and off. They have a weird release schedule, so you have the Inlight Tribe franchise, and on top of my head you don't have much more, basically. I may be forgetting something, so correct me in the comments. But we don't have that much variety. We had Bandiar was quite active a couple of years ago, but they are not as active as they were before. So it's And we had the Fly Me Project franchise, let's say. Fly Me Project franchise. And even in the very few, not all were, let's say, amazing. Some I hold pretty much dear to me, even if I know that they are not amazing. Others I loved because the quality was there. They were unbelievably good, but they disappeared. I have a really weird history when it comes to supporting 2D music projects, in case you are not aware of that. Whenever I support really passionately a 2D music project, usually that project disappears. I would love to see more 2D rock music projects actually come out and deliver a really interesting premise instead of just being edgy. Because rock is more than being edgy, rock is about emotion. And some of the most emotional and most technical and most beautiful songs are rock songs, are not necessarily pop songs. So I feel that this is a genre that is so not used to its best when it could be, and we could have awesome quality deep music, but we don't usually have that. Still, when we go to the Dear Vocalist franchise, we actually have some depth. And I like the fact that we have not only the character development coming to the music, but we also have the quality on the instrumentals and on, let's say, the compositions by Ron, but also on the vocal end by the SEIYUU performing the song. So we have an interesting way of approaching depth in a song. In this case, this franchise is well known for being equal parts music and storytelling. So if you come to the Dear Vocalist franchise, I will say either you are a fan of rock music, so you are going to enjoy the franchise for its rock music, or you are coming here for the storytelling. You are really craving a really deep drama CD collection in which you are actually part of the action. As one of the participants in the story, you actually are the significant other to any of the Dear vocalists, basically, whichever one you choose to actually listen to. Or you have the other option, like myself. I arrived here for some SEIYUU, and I stayed here for the music and the storytelling. I love the combo, and I believe some of you listening to this episode are fans of this franchise in some capacity, whichever. If you are worried about the franchise being a bit too much to get into, I'm going to tell you this right away. It's not that difficult to get into the franchise. First of all, we have the overarching story. So we have the fact that all the vocalists are part of Climax Records, their record label, basically. The record label is handled by a Panda, which is a crazy concept. Once again, this is Reject, so give them a discount. It is Panda Chacho, and he is the one running the operation, basically. All the bands are part of Climax Records. This is the fair bit that you need to actually know. They are all part of this music label, so they know each other, because they have to interact with each other, the vocalists at least. They usually have drama CDs with the vocalists all together, hanging out and doing challenges and basically going on adventures together, which usually leads to crazy shenanigans, and those drama CDs are hilarious, I will tell you. I have all of them here on my studio, and I love to listen to those, especially the one in Brazil, because they had an encounter with the piranhas and it was hilarious. But yeah, they have those types of encounters, so all the vocalists know each other, they are part of Climax Records, and they have to interact with each other. Every single end of the season, there is one drama CD featuring all the vocalists hanging out together and going on a journey, because that journey is a sort of a challenge set by their president, the Panda Chacho that I talked about. Now that you know that part, you can go individually. You don't need to follow all the vocalists. They will basically fit different styles of listener, different styles of fan, and even different styles of rock music. So if you don't like some types of rock music, you may not enjoy some artists in this franchise. I will walk you through the band members, or at least the bands, and tell you a little bit about their music in some way. First off, we have the main band, I would say, because the poster boy for Dear Vocalist is Reudo. Reudo is voiced by Toshiki Masuda. Lumiere is a pop rock band, so their sound is fairly easy to get into, I will say. They have some elements of jazz music as of late, and with Toshiki Masuda improving his singing over the years, he actually is delivering a really interesting style of performances as of now. The band actually has a lot of interesting things when you go to the drama CDs. Let's say, when you go to the individual drama CD with Reudo, Reudo is clingy. So expect that to happen. He's really clingy. He's devoted to his significant other, so if he goes on a trip with all the other vocalists, he will be trying to find a way to call their significant other, to actually get in touch with them, ask them what they are doing, and everything else. He actually lives for the significant other, so he's quite the devoted person. I find clingy people to be a bit too much for me, so Reudo is not necessarily one of my favorite vocalists here when it comes to the individual drama CDs, but I love Toshiki Masuda, so that's a conundrum, because I love and I melt with his voice, but then I don't really like the fact that Reudo is so clingy. Clingy people actually irk me a little bit. Reudo is really clingy, so if you go to the drama CD, the easy individual drama CD, you have to be prepared for him to give you a lot of love, be all over you all the time. If that is a bit too much for you, maybe Reudo is not really the vocalist that you need to check. But then, if you like pop rock music and you want to, for example, you are a fan of pop music and you want to ease in slowly to the rock genre, I would say Lumière, the band fronted by Reudo, is the best one to start with. They have a really welcoming sound and they have an interesting fusion. It's quite the simplistic one, but they have an interesting fusion of pop and rock music. And Toshiki Masuda actually delivers quite the interesting set of performances, especially in the last 3 releases. So we are talking about season 6, 7 and 8. When it comes to the drama CDs or the drama CD part with the whole band, you can expect to find Toshiki Masuda there, of course, as Reudo, but also Yuto Uemura, Taku Yashiro, and Shunsuke Takeuchi. This is quite the interesting lineup. They have a really fun dynamic, so it is worth checking. Then we have Brave Child. This band didn't join the franchise until the 3rd season. So they are a bit of a latecomer in this case because they came to replace Ciel, the solo artist, let's say, or the band member in this case, that was here before. Ciel in this case was voiced by Ken. In this case, Brave Child arrived in the 3rd CD season, and with them they brought Joshua. Joshua is really a laid-back, calm, nice, really nice person. The problem is he has a couple of mental issues that he is trying to overcome. I will say, and this now is a trigger warning, so you can skip, I would say, skip the next 1 or 2 minutes because I'm going to talk about something that is trigger warning. But Joshua tries to unalive himself in the first drama CD. It's quite harrowing what is happening. Because you are locked outside of the house, you are seeing him trying to unalive himself. I found that to be really horrific, really. But it is a display that Rejet wanted to make to show that despite him looking like he was okay, inside he was not okay. And he was doubting himself, he was not okay, feeling happy, he was not feeling happy. He appeared to be happy. So you, in some capacity, try to save him and to help him, try to love himself more, to see that there is nothing wrong with him, that you are there to support him. And Joshua slowly really gets better. But that start of the drama CD was a bit harrowing for me. I listened to it, but I didn't even find the courage to listen to the second one or the third one, because what was happening was, this is weird to say, but it was well acted to the point that it made me want to jump into the CD and save him. That's the feeling that I had when I listened to it, and I really felt that frustration of I want to, but I can't because I don't have a way to help. So it was really harrowing what was happening. So thankfully he was saved. Thankfully Joshua is still around in the franchise. This band has a pop rock sound as well, but they are more ballad driven. Most of the songs by Joshua are really romantic, and usually they are also really sweet. So you can expect a mix of sweetness with romance in his songs, although in the most recent one, Himitsu, he actually went the sexy route, and that song and that CD in specific is really, really sexy. in this case, the music is really awesome. So if you stay away from the drama CDs that unfortunately have that trigger warning, but still, if that doesn't affect you and you actually go through and listen to the drama CDs with Joshua, you will find Nobunaga Shimazaki voicing him. And I love Nobunaga Shimazaki's voice. And he's actually a really good singer, although really underappreciated, which I don't understand why. And he sings really well as Joshua since the very start. I feel that he has been the SEIYUU in this franchise that has been the most consistent alongside Toshiyuki Toyonaga, by far. You will find him singing the songs, Nobunaga Shimazaki as Joshua. Then, if you go to the drama CD with the band, you will find not only Nobunaga Shimazaki as Joshua, but you will find Chiaki Kobayashi, Takuma Nagatsuka, and Tetsuya Kakihara. This is an interesting lineup, and it is also worth mentioning that this band came from the US to replace CL, who went to the US. So there are a couple of things in the way that they talk about the US. They also, when the whole lineup or the whole vocalist lineup went to the US for one of those trips / challenges by the Panda Shacho, he actually was a really interesting and valuable person to have on that trip because he knows how to get around in the US while the other ones were chaotic as hell. He's actually pretty laid back when it comes to hanging out with the other members in the Dear Vocalist franchise. Then we have Kagaribi. Kagaribi is my favorite band in this franchise. They are a punk rock, hard rock duo, so they have a really aggressive, fast and intense sound to match Judah's voice. Judah is voiced by Soma Saito. Now, it is worth mentioning a couple of things in here. The franchise kicked off in 2015. In 2015, Soma Saito's voice was slightly different from now. And why is that? Because in 2016, he underwent a surgery to recover from a problem in his throat. That actually changed slightly Soma Saito's voice. And also, as he's gotten older, his voice has actually gotten slightly deeper. It's slightly. Most of you, especially if you are not massive fans of Soma Saito, so you don't follow him as closely, you won't notice the difference. However, if you listen to the discography since the start for Kagaribi up until now, you will notice that Soma Saito is singing completely different from the start. So right now his voice is completely different. It's a bit deeper, a bit rougher. Still, that roughness that he had, that edge that he had when the franchise started, is almost nowhere to be found right now. And this is an interesting thing. Judah is simultaneously the one that sings the heaviest music in this franchise, but also the most romantic. So, most of the songs are dedicated to his significant other. So, right off the bat, you are going to get romantic songs in some capacity, or really steamy songs in some capacity as well. So you get that, but you also get that combo of the songs are really heavy. So these may not be your band in case you don't like heavy rock music or fast-paced rock music. Judah is actually the member that I feel that has changed the most since the start. He had anger management issues. For Judah usually lead to one of two things. Either he's screaming all the time in the drama CDs, especially to the guitarist of his band. They are a two-piece band, so they only have each other. Or he's reacting slightly aggressively to something that you say. In this case, you, the significant other, if you listen to the drama CDs with the dummy head mic. He usually goes back and forth and has good banter with his significant other, and it is obvious that he loves them a lot, really a lot, because he dedicates all the songs that he creates to them. And he also tries, and emphasis on the word tries, to be softer and sweeter to his significant other, and slowly he tries to better himself and overcome his problems with anger management. And I would say by the 6th season, he actually is confronted by his guitarist, Simon, and he avoids a confrontation, which is a really good show of his growth. When it comes to that CD as well, he also learns how to beg for forgiveness and apologize, which is something that he had never done before. So this is the character that I feel has grown the most, at least, because his problem is nowhere to be found right now. He no longer has anger management issues in the 8th season. He does have flashes of something else, but no longer anger management issues. I'm not going to spoil too much. They have a really interesting brand of rock. They are more aggressive, so I would say this is the most violent band in this franchise in terms of their sound and their performances. So if you don't like heavy rock music, they may not be the thing for you. Then we have Jet Red Fury. Jet Red Fury is a really interesting band. First of all, they have also a heavy brand of rock, but they mix a little bit of electronica here to make it a bit more stylish, I would say. It's still not that approachable, and at times their sound may be a bit aggressive as well, but I found their music really interesting. On the vocals, you have Natsuki Hanae as SEIYUU. SEIYUU, he has a problem. He has trust issues. That's as clean as you can get. With this one, this is fairly straightforward. He has trust issues. He's not really trusting anyone around him. That basically includes you as well in the drama CDs. I find him a bit harder to understand in the individual drama CDs with the dummy head mic because he doesn't have any problem to break up with you and then get back to you and then break up again. So you and him are on and off in the drama CDs, and that dynamic really kills the vibe for me. But that vibe or that mood for him happens because, and he has mood swings associated with that problem of the trust issues. He always thinks that someone wants to take something away from him or use him for something. That has a reason, and he basically explains that reason in the drama CDs fairly early on. But I feel that it still doesn't make most sense that if he loves his significant other, why break up and get back again and break up and get back again? But still, their music is really good. I would recommend you listen basically to their music if you want to get into a slightly heavier brand of rock. Then we have Veronica. Veronica is a 5-piece band fronted by Momochi. The problem with Momochi is that he's a yandere, so expect him to love you a lot, but he doesn't let you do much. And he will tie you up, he will abandon you, he will edge you, he will play the victim, he will do a ton of toxic stuff. So prepare yourself because Momochi has the best music in this franchise for many fans, but he's also the worst person when it comes to him personally. Is the very definition of a red flag. He's really happy-go-lucky, really fun, really approachable, but only with his band and only live, because behind the scenes, the band doesn't like him, he doesn't talk much with them. He's quite the diva, and then when it comes to being with the significant other, he's possessive, violent, he is all about doing weird stuff to you. So prepare yourself, trigger warning as well. Momochi is a yandere and he will try to break your mind with psychological violence, I will say, or abuse. So prepare yourself. He has amazing music, but I would say if you are trying to get into this franchise and want to avoid trigger warnings, I would say avoid Momochi's individual drama CDs. But other than that, he has some of the best music in this franchise. Veronica is an awesome band. They are known for not having a music genre. So they perform basically any type of music. And this lineup is massive because of that. He has some of the most, I would say, the sexiest songs in this franchise. But personally, he's a walking red flag. He's possessive as hell, he's violent psychologically, sometimes physically, and he likes to edge you, to lock you, to abandon you, to actually make his point that you only need him. That's a really twisted way of loving. That's his massive problem. He's a yandere, and the way that he shows his love for his significant other is a bit toxic, not to say extremely toxic. Then we have NSFW, the last band in this franchise. They are not safe for work, yeah, and this band is known for having a really interesting sound, a little bit like Veronica does, from traditional Japanese music to dance music to jazz and even rock music. NSFW actually does a little bit of everything, but most leaning towards EDM music, so their sound is really danceable. A-Dash has a couple of problems. The way that Reject approaches him is a mix of experiencing depression, but also is slightly bipolar. And the way that Reject is approaching this one is with an interesting care. It is really interesting the way that they approach this one without making a bad deal out of something that can actually be worked, and things that can either be overcome or at least softened. And only the thing that A-Dash really needs here is someone to support him and to ground him, to actually make him feel happier, to actually make him enjoy life, to actually make him not jump into crazy ideas one time and then regretting those the other. So his significant other is a grounding foundation for him, and you will be playing more of a supporting role of helping him when he's feeling down, or actually enjoying his excitement when he's really happy. He goes through the motions of those two massive emotions, let's say happiness and sadness, and especially in the very first CDs you notice that pretty well. He actually overcomes that in some capacity, or actually works on himself towards enjoying more life, to basically he falls in love with the significant other in a way that they are not only his love, but they are his everything. And that fact actually makes him completely different or grow a lot throughout the series. I feel that he is one, alongside Judah, that has grown a lot. Him, I would say, Judah, Joshua, and A-Dash have grown the most in this franchise. This, of course, is not something to talk about softly, and the themes in this franchise are all tied to mental health. I love that Reject actually approaches these themes, which is something that no other franchise has approached, and they are doing these with a lot of care to portray really well the conditions, to show the struggles that people go behind the scenes and how that can affect their lives or the lives of the ones they love, and how sometimes having someone beside them can actually help them overcome a problem, can actually make them feel loved, see that they have value, see that they are worth, see that people want them around. I love that Reject approached these and showed that there is a way out, there is a solution, there is something that will keep you around. And I love that this franchise actually approached this way. This is a really difference maker when it comes to this franchise. Not only the fact that the storytelling is really strong, and also that the music is really good, and that we have plenty of variety in here. We have a lot of rock subgenres represented in this franchise, but you also have a really interesting and well done portrayal of mental health, and this is a really good mental health rep, basically, in terms of a franchise. Daisuke Iwasaki, Reject's CEO and in some sort creative director for the Dear Vocalist franchise, he has a degree in psychology. So most of the projects at Reject usually touch upon themes in psychology, either dilemmas or mental health issues. They usually touch upon those themes. That's why Reject sometimes sounds a bit quirky in what they are doing, but sometimes behind they are approaching topics that usually franchises don't approach. I hope you enjoyed this one. I love the Dear Vocalist franchise. I've told you countless times before, and I'm so happy that the franchise is actually celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. I hope many more to come, and awesome music to come, a new season to come, hopefully, fingers crossed, because I want more of Judah, especially because he's my favorite one in this franchise. but also more of the quirkiness between all vocalists and more of rock music, because we have some representation of rock music in the 2D music industry, but we don't have a strong one or a really present one. Projects with the rock genre are barely active, whereas basically idol projects are releasing music all the time because it's fairly easy to create pop music, and especially to cater to trends, and idol fans usually want music now, all the time, right now, and usually rock music takes a bit longer to create, and fans are not expecting music all the time. It's a different type of fandom, usually related to rock music. I love to see this franchise representing rock music really well. They have been doing so for a while. It's been 10 years, and they also are the only 2D music franchise that actually does mental health rap, so this is amazing to happen. So we have plenty of representation of mental health, and it is quite the positive representation. So you have solutions being shown, and you are being a part of the solution as a participant in the drama CDs. So it's sort of endearing to see this approach, and for once, Reject actually did something that didn't shock people. So yeah. But yeah, I love this franchise. I would recommend you time and time again for you to check it. The rock music is amazing. The pop that they have in this franchise is also amazing. The dance music, also amazing. So go and check them out. They have some of their music, not all, but they have some of their music at the time of recording this episode. We are in 2025. They have some available on Spotify and I believe Apple Music. So go check the music out. You will have it available in some capacity on streaming platforms, at least one CD or two they have there, so you can get a gist of what they sound like. And if you really enjoy their music, please support them directly if you have the money and go purchase the CDs, because the only way that you can get the drama CDs and get all the goodies is if you purchase the physical version. And don't come at me saying, oh, but I'm going to pirate it from a downloads website. Shame on you, because you are actually being a part of the problem why 2D music projects disappear. So don't do that. Go purchase the drama CD if you can. If you can't, listen to the music and save money to purchase the physical CD and get the drama tracks. That's the right way to do it. So don't do the other one. So yeah, this was all from me about the Dear Vocalist franchise. My questions would be, have you been a fan since the start? For example, I am since the start. So have you been a fan since the start? If you have, which is your favorite band? Or what did you think about the project when you found it first? And if you came across the project later on, what made you a fan of this project? Was it a specific CD, a specific SEIYUU, a song that you actually found online and made you curious about the franchise? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of SEIYUU Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the THTFHQ's weekly male SEIYUU and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male SEIYUU artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.